on YouTube, Facebook, and X. And for the premier sports talk experience, tap into our Roku channel. Start your mornings with Mac and Jack covering all the weekend sports action. Then pour a cup and enjoy all the sports you can drink on the Coffee and Sports podcast. At midday, talk sports from east to west on the Coast to Coast podcast. Followed at night by some hot girl talk with Prim and Proper Sports featuring Sonia Pearson. Talk boxing on the Gloved Fist. Yankee fans tune in for Start Spreading the News. And there's more on the College Sports Huddle and Sports Scope with Robert Butler. And that's just a sampling. There are 20 podcasts in all and 70 weekly shows giving us a 3.4-star viewer rating. To find us on Roku TV, search for National Streaming Sports on the Roku search bar. Click on the logo and you're in. For laptops, mobile phones, and tablets, download the Roku app. National Streaming Sports, live and on demand, sports talk for America.
This show is brought to you by BetUS.com. 125% off your first 3 deposits, 30 years experience, secure site, wagering for all sports, including during the games and futures. SeatGeek provides you the best prices on sports and music events, game tickets, and concerts. Use NSS promo code to get $20 off your first ticket. Keep using the NSS promo code when purchasing tickets for great deals in the future. In Fanatics at nessp.info for your favorite teams, sportswear. Click on the link, and while you're there, check out our national streaming sports merchandise. Good morning. How you doing, everybody? And welcome to the Mac and Jack Sports Show on National Streaming Sports Roku channel, YouTube, and other places that will be on during the game. And remember, when you go to SeatGeeks, when you're leaving, you're checking out with your tickets, hit that NSS promo button again so they know that when you come back on, boom, you'll be getting all those great deals. We got a lot to talk about today, Jack, and let's bring in Keith Angles. We start with Major League Baseball and the Yankees game last night. Good morning, Keith. How you doing today?
Morning, guys.
Yes. So, Jack, we had, being Yankee fans, and all three of us here are Yankee fans. Of course, we wanted to see the Yankees win last night. Judge and Stanton go back-to-back, and it looks like it's over. But then it gets into extra innings. There's a big rookie hits a home run, and then David Fry in extra innings hits that 2-run shot, and they win. And even though we're all Yankee fans, Jack, I mean, it was a great game. If you just want to watch baseball on that, it was a great game last night.
A classic game, but very painful because these series could turn very quickly. You could feel you basically have it won. You're up 2-0 the Yankees. If they were going to win yesterday, there's absolutely no way Cleveland's going to win 4 in a row. Cleveland's not the Boston Red Sox of 2004. They don't have that personnel. They don't have that team that could have come back and won 4 in a row. But Cleveland's very much alive. Is there going to be a hangover for the Yankees in Game 4? And I don't know about you guys, but I didn't feel safe far from it, even when Stanton hit the homer to put the Yankees up 4-3. The Indians still had 2 innings to go. Their last of the 8th and the 9th, and the Yankee bullpen's been a little overworked. They've overachieved a bit too. So I didn't feel completely safe. And a pivotal point was this: when the Yankees were up in the 9th inning 4-3, and they had 2nd and 3rd, no outs, and they can only get in 1 run. And even though we may have been thinking, oh, that's nice, it's a big insurance run, which it was, the missed opportunity of also getting in the runner from second base. I was thinking at the time that could conceivably haunt the Yankees because all the Indians have to do is get 1 runner on base and then 1 swing of the bat ties it up. And that's what happened. And the Indians did that, went into extra innings and won it then.
It's the second time David Fry has done that during the playoffs. Keith, tonight we got Lewis Hill going 15-7, first time in the playoffs versus David Peterson. They're starting for Cleveland. Hill, of course, at 15-7. I mean, sorry, the Indians are starting Lavin Williams, who's 3-10. So this is Hill's first appearance. I'm wondering why they took this long to get him in, but he was really exciting this year. I feel really good tonight going against a pitcher that's 3-10 during the regular season. And that's Cleveland's Lavin Williams, and I think that the Yankees win this game tonight.
They should, and they. I don't want to say they better. I don't think it's a must-win, but that hangover Jack talked about, they've got to avoid. I worry about Heel having sat around for a while because he has command issues to begin with, and he needs to go deep in this game, I think, to give that bullpen a bit of a blow. As Jack said, they've been used a lot. And I think, look, the Yankees should win this game. You're going against a pitcher like that with this offense, and yes, they should win this game. I will say, too, as a Yankee fan, I'll kind of just echo what you said. I want to win that game, but it was really a classic October ball game. And it's a game where I can't really have any fault with Aaron Boone for the loss. There's nothing he could have done. He did everything the way he should have done it. And, the bullpen for one of the few times this year, late in the year and in the playoffs didn't come through. So those things are going to happen. You got to come back and bounce back. It's a veteran team pretty much. And I think they should bounce back tonight.
And things are happening that are a little dysfunctional, like Jose Trevino on the base paths. Anthony Rizzo, one of the better defensive first basemen, 2 gaps, 2 plays that he should have made. I mean, especially one in the hit that went down the line. It didn't cost the Yankees in that inning, but it could have. He just looked old there.
Volpe last night, too, had a gaffe. Or what is he doing? Just taking off for third base on a ground ball at second base. I mean, I like aggressiveness, but that was just kind of reckless.
And the ball went up Birdie's gloves at first base early in the game. Yeah. And that cost the Yankees a run. Little things like that we forget about. Speaking of forgetting, I mean, Marcus Stroman is on the Yankees roster, the forgotten man completely. You would think they would take a chance with him on long relief, but he's pitched so poorly the last, 6-8 weeks of the season that he's on the roster. But for what? I mean, you don't hear about him warming up, about them potentially using him.
I would not have put him on the roster unless I plan on starting him. He does not come out of the bullpen and pitch well. So there's really, as you said, there's no reason to have him here unless he's going to start a game.
Unless the Yankees fall way behind in a game and they want him to save the bullpen because he can go a lot of innings. That would be his main value.
And Marcus,
to just mop up.
And Marcus Stroman would be a great guy to have in a clubhouse when he's sent out after that duty, I'm sure, because he's got a little bit of an ego. That's not going to sit well with him. But I understand your point perfectly.
Well, we talk about our bullpen. We got to their bullpen too last night. In fact, the last pitcher was a pitcher that didn't pitch for forever. So I mean, you never know who's going to make that big play or have big stuff is coming out of the bullpen, or like I said, battered and played all year, or during the playoffs comes in and hits that home run. So you never know who has that moment. And like I said, I'm not worried at all. I think we win tonight.
It is fun for baseball to see a guy like David Fry. Now, as you said, the second time he's hit a game-winning home run in this playoff, and he's been hurt, can't play the field, and those are good stories in baseball. They're not great stories if you're a guy that loses you're a fan of the team that loses the game, but they're great baseball stories. And the Yankees got the Classy. I can never say this guy's name. Clase, however you say, the reliever for the Indians, who've been virtually perfect all year, and the Yankees have gotten to him a couple times, and that gives them confidence too. I didn't expect them to sweep the series, so this is fine. It's a tough way to lose for sure, but
guys, why are we giving Fry the credit? Noel deserves the bulk of the credit tying the game up. Fry's homer was an extra innings. The Indians maybe win the game anyway without that homer. Noel doesn't hit the homer. If Fry makes out, the Indians maybe win. They have a 50-50 chance still. But if Noel makes out, the Indians lose, the game's over.
Yeah.
Give him the credit. He should be the headline. And I don't understand after the game, they're interviewing Fry. The bigger homer was by Noel by far. Give him the glory more so.
Yeah, I don't mean to take any credit away from Noel. That was a big home run. They don't win. The game's over. You know, I personally, I thought I had looked away because I was busy doing something. I was watching the game on my laptop because my wife had something else on the big TV. But they went to commercial. I actually thought the game was over because I'd gotten distracted for a minute, and they came back and we're still playing. So it was interesting. I had to go back and watch that.
Oh, there you go. So the Mets and Dodgers go at it tonight. You got Jack Flaherty. He's 13-7. We know how good he is. The Mets are running David Peterson 10-3 during the year. I think this is his first appearance too, if I'm not mistaken. Good pitcher. I don't think the Mets. I think the Mets will tie it tonight. Also, for some reason, I have a funny feeling they're going to tie it.
They're down 3-1, Matt.
Yeah,
so
the
Mets will not tie anyone.
They will tie it in the next 2 games. How's that?
They might tie the game tonight at some point. You know.
Yeah, I think Peterson has pitched, but out of the bullpen, and this is basically a bullpen game for the Mets right now because he's not going to go deep in this game. So, Mets offense has got to get it going. They got to play better defense, and the mojo has seemed to have ebbed out of the Mets here in this series. The Dodgers are good. The pitchers have been a lot better than we expected them to be. We expected that starting pitching to struggle because of the injuries, but Yamamoto's pitched great. Flaherty's pitched really well in the playoffs after not pitching great, or his last time out, I should say. And he didn't pitch great his first time out in the playoffs, but I'm not a huge fan. I kept railing on the fact they called him an ace when he got traded from Detroit. He's a decent pitcher. He's nobody's ace. He is right now. But Buehler pitched really well. With not a lot of innings this year. So this has been a big series for the Dodgers and Dave Roberts. And personally, game's in New York still, right?
Yeah.
And then maybe the Mets find a way to take it back to LA. I think the Dodgers would love to end it tonight, get a little bit of rest for that pitching staff of their own, and hope the Yankees go 7 or Yankees.
Well, if the Detroit Tigers knew they were going to make the playoffs, they never would have traded away Jack Flaherty in season to the Dodgers. And there's a good chance the Yankees would be playing the Tigers right now in the playoffs instead of the Indians. So it's speculative.
Yeah, we don't know that for sure. But yeah, it would increase their chances. That's for sure.
For sure.
Right, for sure. Listen, I'm not worried about the Mets at all. I think the Mets got that little something. I think they win tonight. Especially
Mac, they're down 3-1, and they've gotten blown out the 2 games at home. There's reason to worry that the Mets can't be confident. They could think they can still win. Do everything you can to stay alive, but I don't want to hear, "Oh, we're confident. I'm confident."
What do you mean you don't want to hear it? Well, then turn off your screen. I'm going to say that I'm confident.
How can you be confident? You got blown out the 2 games.
I'm going to say what I want to say, and you can say what you want to say.
You're playing against the best team than you are. So I don't want to hear about being confident.
Listen,
the Yankees could say that they're still confident. They let the game get away because they're up 2-1, and the perception is that they have a better team. So the Yankees could say, "Yeah, we're still confident." The Mets are down 3-1 against a superior team that blew them out the last 2 games.
And I've also seen the Dodgers. I've also seen the Dodgers with a superior team losing the first round, second round during the playoffs every year.
Now when they've been up 3-1.
I'm not going to go back and check the games right now, Jack, but I'm just telling you, Arizona did it to them. The Phillies did it to them the last 2 years.
Not when they were up 3-1.
Whatever.
I will tell you this much. First of all, I was confident this conversation was heading that direction very early there. So I was confident about that. The Mets cannot win if they continue to put, walk guys right and left and put 20 runners on during a game. Can they win? Yeah. And again, confidence is just somebody's opinion of what's going to happen, right? So Mets cannot play like they played the 3 of the last 4 games and win tonight. I can tell you that. Doesn't matter what happens.
there's only one thing that bothers me about the Mets. Why are you not walking Shohei Ohtani?
They walk everybody else. They might as well just walk him for sure.
Just let him hit 2 home runs last night. I don't get it.
He started off the game with a homer, but you're not percentage-wise. If you look at how many homers he hit during the season and how many times he came to the plate, he's hit a homer once less than every, less than 10% of the time he's gotten up to the plate. He's hit home runs. Put it that way.
Everybody.
That's percentage-wise in baseball. You don't set the table for.
I think Bonds. Wait a minute. I think Bonds at his best hit one every 10%, and Ruth at his best hit every 10%. I would not take a chance of letting that guy key off on me. That makes no sense.
Bonds was about 1 for 8 during that great run for a
No.
couple
That's official at bats. If you include the walks in, it would be less than 10% of the times he's come to the plate. And you're talking about intent. You're talking about Mac intentionally walking Ohtani to start the game.
I don't care. I'd walk.
You just automatically.
And Betts had 4 hits last night behind him, so
I'd let Bet.
Pitch to him carefully, a little out of the strike zone. Give him bad pitches to hit, and if he takes them, he walks anyway. I wouldn't intentionally walk him.
What is a bad pitch to Ohtani? Go ahead.
I wouldn't totally disregard that strategy because yes, let Ohtani. You can't. Well, Bill Belichick always said all great coaches have said you don't let the best player beat you, and maybe Ohtani didn't necessarily beat them last night because Mookie Betts probably beat them last night and their own pitching staff, the Mets. But there's something to be said for that because the rest of his lineup is not scary. I mean, Hernandez has turned into, Babe Ruth in the playoffs again. This is what he does. This guy's terrible at like every regular season. And anytime he gets in the postseason, he turns into Babe Ruth or Reggie Jackson. But still, with the rest of that lineup, I don't know that I totally disagree. It would take some thought, and you're going to get killed, by the way, when Mookie Betts gets 4 hits behind him. But there's something to the strategy.
I don't know. I don't want him on a base pass stealing. I don't want him.
If you intentionally walk him, you have him on the. Let's say you walk him to start the game, then he's still second base.
I would pitch
at
Ohtani's legs.
I
would pitch at Ohtani's legs. I would hit him. I would not just intentionally walk.
How about just running him over with the thing that drags the field before the game?
The guy is so good. But I'm just kidding. I would definitely walk.
Here's the strategy you need. You get the guy who drove the snowplow for the Patriots back in '82 and have him drag the field and run over Ohtani by mistake during pregame.
We could always pull a tarp over him during the practice.
You can do that too. They won't even know where he is.
Yes. No, all kidding aside, I would walk Ohtani every time he was up. I would. Anyway, we did have a football game last night. Denver beats New Orleans 33-10. They are now 4-3. New Orleans drops to 2-5. Bo Nix with a 16 for 26, 164-yard game. No big deal. Just pretty efficient. Devontae Williams is the main guy with 2 touchdowns, along with 4 field goals. It was a big deal for Sean Payton going back to New Orleans and winning this game. I don't know if you guys saw the video of him and the owner hugging each other before the game and everything. Pretty emotional, I think, for Sean Payton. Listen, their defense had 6 sacks. Spence, shake, rattle, and roll there, went 25 of 35, 172 yards, replaced by Jack Hayner at the end, who did throw a touchdown pass in the loss. Is there going to be do you think, before we get to the game itself, do you think there's going to be some pause and maybe they pull Shake back out and put Hayner in, who really was a second-string quarterback?
Yeah, they might play Hayner. Hayner came out with a little bit of promise out of Fresno State a few years ago. I kind of liked his game, but not as a big-time starter, but somebody who could be in the league. This is the problem with a rookie quarterback when you throw him into this type of situation, right? We've talked about it a bunch of times. And you got to be in the right situation to really be able to thrive. And right now he's struggling, and I can't see any benefit to continuing to play him right this minute. I like the kid down the line, but the more you play him now, the more you're going to hurt his confidence. And this Denver defense is really, really good, and haven't gotten enough credit up until now. Really, really good. And James, I'm really sorry about your team situation, but I can commiserate.
Well, the Saints were decimated by injuries. It's got to. I know that's an excuse for every team in the NFL, but them more so. I mean, it seemed they had an injury at virtually every position, and they're not that good a team offensively. I mean, Rattler got rattled, no pun intended, and he's a rookie quarterback getting his feet wet and to be under that type of pressure, and it's a mess in New Orleans. You know, Dennis Allen there was Sean Payton's defensive coordinator at New Orleans, so I could see them conceivably reuniting if the Saints move on from Allen. But why would they? I mean, with the situation at New Orleans, I know how badly they're playing, but you're just going to blame it completely, you know, on the coach?
From what I've seen the last 2 years, a lot of it, I'm going to say yes. I'm surprised he came back this year, and he may be the next guy to go. As far as the injuries go, I agree. Injuries are a problem, but everybody has injuries, and you can't use it as an excuse. You got to. That's why you have to find depth on your teams, and it's so hard to do when you're paying quarterbacks, you know, $60 million a year. Mac, it took you 10 minutes to read the injury report last Sunday, so everybody.
It did. Right? It did. And you know something else? I think the Saints have always kicked the can down the road. They keep the veterans, they sign their veterans, and they wait forever to turn teams over. They don't even retool. I mean, you know, some teams will retool and bring in some players and get rid of some of the older players so they can keep going and maybe winning. They don't even do that. No. They just kick the can down the road and they say, oh, well, we'll be all right. Well, now I think it's starting to unravel a little bit for them. And, you know, and I don't dislike Rattler. I really don't. I think the kid has some potential. You've seen him make some nice runs. He's got a little, you know, and he's made some nice passes. I think as the game goes on, it's just the amount of hits this guy's taking. He starts looking at the rush a little more than downfield, and he starts making some bad throws. So
that's what happens when you're a young kid, for sure.
Yeah, you know, and of course he wasn't a first round draft pick either. So a lot was expected of this guy either. He kind of just got thrown in there and he skipped the second string quarterback, which might have been a bad thing to do if you're going back 20/20 hindsight, right? So I don't know. I think that, as you said, the Saints and the Panthers, we'll see who wins last place there now, because with all of injuries, I don't know now. I don't know. I don't know, James. I'm sorry to say it. I don't know.
Well, the Saints aren't playing the Panthers. The Panthers playing the Washington Commanders this week.
I'm just saying at the end of the year, Jack. I don't know.
At the end of the year.
Yeah.
It looks like it's unraveled at New Orleans. It really has. I mean, that division now, it looks obvious it's going to be settled between the Atlanta Falcons and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We thought the Saints would be in the mix, you know, the big three, and the Panthers would be the odd team left out, but now it appears, you know, Saints won't be able to keep contact with those teams.
The Panthers are Jack's new team. Sonia threw out the line last night, and Jack right on.
I mean, I hate to get ahead of ourselves, but the Commanders had that big game against the Baltimore Ravens, and there's bound to be a little bit of a letdown. And that is a rivalry game, the Commanders and the Ravens, even though they're not in the same division, not in the same
Why is it a rivalry game? Wait, Jack. When has that ever been a rivalry game?
Washington is next door to Baltimore.
When has that ever been a rivalry game? When has it ever been a rivalry game? I can never remember anybody saying in the past that the Commanders or the Redskins or whatever you want to call them and the Panthers, the Carolina Panthers, were a rivalry game. Never have I heard of
Matt, if you can get in your car and drive 1 hour to the game, then it's a rivalry game. The people in Baltimore could drive 1 hour to Washington. That makes it a rivalry game because it's the proximity.
I think it depends. I think it depends on how good the teams are and how good and how many times they played each other and what the records are against each other, Jack. I don't think just driving.
In any event, the Commanders are due for a letdown, and I think to be the week it happens.
Oh, or let down because they lost. I'm questioning everything you say. Since you started with me early, I'm going to question everything you say now. Just for
it seems so. It seems so.
Okay.
Sorry, Jack. I didn't mean to throw you under the bus there.
Well, you can't get settled till they play the game Sunday, and you know.
Yeah.
Panthers are due for a win here. That'll be a surprise when they actually win the game. Panthers will actually go into Washington and win a game there. That's going to be a shocker.
All right. That would be a shocker. All right, I'll agree with that.
You're welcome. I brought up the Panthers without Sonia here. We talked about them. We don't talk about them when she's around and she gets mad, but now we talked about them for 10 minutes.
Well, we don't want to change what's going on. We want her to stay mad when she's on the show. Anyway, so yeah, listen. I think the Denver defense is good. I don't know if they're great or not because as Jack said before, the Chargers kind of put it on them last week with their offense.
Not so much on the defense. Denver had problems moving the ball against
They definitely do. And so anyway, let's get our college football segment. Keith is the Reverend Angle will give us his sermon on the college football news here first. They did change the 12-man loophole. NCAA has changed that, and I don't know why the head coach of the Oregon Ducks landing there said anything after the game. Why would you say anything if you could use that loophole? Why would you come out and say, "Hey, there's a loophole we used, and that's why we got 36 seconds extra"? Why would you say that, Keith?
I think they would have picked up on it anyway, but I agree. I mean, you're only going to get a chance to do something like that once, and you know it. So he probably thought, look how smart I am, and he's a great coach. I like Dan Lanning a lot, and that's just smart. That's just smart football.
It was. I still wouldn't have said anything. I would. The NCAA isn't too bright, Keith. Really. I mean, they're giving a lot of credit.
They're bright enough to change that rule by about midnight on Saturday, though.
Yes, they were. Yes, they were. Anyway, so that has been changed. So we got some 3 games I want you to take a look at, Keith. And these may be the biggest 3 games here. I want you to give us your picks on them. And of course, this is brought to you by BetUs. BetUs.com is what we use for our we have an affiliation with them, and we use them and check out their bets because they are all they let you bet during the game, and these college picks also you will see it's right there in the right hand corner. You can scan that with your phone to go directly to the site or go to nessp.info, and we have all bunch of places you can go to. BetUs is one of them, and you can, I think it's BetUS. I'm almost positive that's what it is, but it does say Bet Us on when you're looking it up. Anyway, check out all those great bets you can make, even during the game, which is pretty cool. So, Keith, let's take a look at Alabama versus Tennessee. Alabama is given 2 points. They are favored by 2 points over Tennessee. So they're getting points at home, or giving points at home to Tennessee. Tennessee is getting 2 points.
Very surprised that Alabama's a favorite at Rocky Top here with both these teams struggling coming into this game. Tennessee lost 2 weeks ago, had to go to overtime to beat a bad Florida team last week. Alabama, as we know, got beat at Vanderbilt, did everything they could to lose the game last week to South Carolina, but they managed to win. I like Tennessee at home here. Very athletic, very good defense. I like their quarterback a lot. I love Jalen Milroe, don't get me wrong, for Alabama, but this kid, Nico, who I won't even try to say his last name right here because it's a tongue twister for me. He played really great football until the last couple of weeks. He's a young kid. I think he gets it back here. I think it'll be a close game, but I think Tennessee prevails, wins the game. I won't need the points.
Okay. So,
by the way, maybe an elimination game for the playoff, possibly for these two teams. One of them could put themselves on the outside of the playoff picture after this week, at least for the time being.
Yes. And I want to welcome in, of course, James has been watching. Scott Kobe's out there. Chris Evgrave has just joined the show here. And, of course, Scott Kobe is going to kind of
Scott does some great picks. Make sure you put his picks up. He's a good picker. This is kind of what he does. He's a good picker. Well, and Scott's going through some stuff right now, so our thoughts with Scott as well. So
okay. Well, he's ribbing you a little bit, Keith, just to let you know.
He will. That's his nature. That's okay.
I'm not the only one. Okay, good. Anyway.
No, whatever makes you guys feel. If I can help people feel better by taking the brunt of I'll do that.
Okay, well, yeah, so Boston College has played very well this year, so nobody expected them to do too much, I don't think. I don't follow Boston College like you do, Keith, but I don't think they would have been shocked if they were in first place, come the end of the year.
No, but they've improved. They've improved under Bill O'Brien this year for sure. Yeah. They're very competitive. They've lost a couple of games they should have won, and probably won a couple they should have lost. So again, it's it is what it is. They're not going to
always seem to come from behind too, Keith. It's not like they jump out to a big lead and kind of coast. They're always playing from behind. So
look at anytime that program is competitive in the ACC and maybe in the upper echelon, they're doing well. They're not going to challenge for national championships at Boston College. Just
right. Syracuse either. Syracuse it's good to see them playing well too. I'm glad to see them playing well. So anyway, let's move on to the next game. Georgia is getting 4.5 at Texas, Keith. Georgia does seem to have a problem playing really good teams, right? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know who Georgia is. Is Georgia that team that just dominated Clemson, who has played great since, and maybe not against the best competition, but has just been blowing teams out, and Georgia just humiliated them. Again, it's week one. You never know what to make of that. Since then, Georgia has only looked really good against mediocre or worse competition. They struggled and almost lost to Kentucky. They lose to Alabama, who now we see is not like a super power necessarily. I think Texas wins this game. I worry about the points a little bit. It is down a half a point. I hope it comes down another half a point. I'm going to take Texas at home. If this game was in Georgia, I may take Georgia to win this game, quite frankly. But being as they're playing in Austin, I'm going to take Texas to win. They're loaded. Texas is really the best team in the country right now, by far.
Agree with that. I definitely would agree with that. Georgia has to be motivated to win. Texas will win by 14. Wow.
That could be the call. It could be. I think Georgia could muster it up and give them a better game than 14, but I think they lose in the end.
Yeah, listen.
Scott might have a better call right there. I like the over in this game too, 56, I believe it is. I like the over. That might be the bet I make is over.
Well, I don't know. Quinn Ewers I don't think is totally healthy yet either. I think they're rushing him back, and they shouldn't. Not with when you got Manning there. Maybe they're scared Manning wins again, and then it gets worse.
You look at these mock drafts, and Quinn Ewers, you don't see his name in the first round anymore. I mean, he was projected to be a first rounder, early in the year. Has his stock slipped because he's gotten injured or because of performance?
Yeah, because he has injury issues. This isn't the first time he's been hurt, right? And I think that's one of the big things that's going to make his stock fall with NFL teams.
So let's say Quinn Ewers starts and let's just say Georgia wins and Quinn Ewers has a bad game. How much pressure is now put Arch Manning in the next game?
There'll be some pressure, but again, I think Scarsazian will stick with his veteran unless he's just awful. I mean, if he's just awful, that's something different. But you could see Arch at different times too. I mean, I would not discount the fact that Arch Manning may get into any of these games now as just a little change of pace series, because he can do things that Quinn Ewers can't do, running the football and moving around the pocket a little more. So, if they want to change the momentum of a game, you may see him come in even for a series or two, if not replacing Quinn Ewers altogether.
No, that's all. It's good. Let me ask Jack. Jack, what would you do? I mean, if Quinn Ewers is playing bad, I mean, you're the coach. Do you throw Manning in there and say, hey, from now on, it's your team as long as you keep winning?
If you feel he gives you the best chance to win, you have to. There's a certain loyalty with Quinn Ewers being the incumbent, the veteran. He stayed at school an extra year where he could apply for the NFL draft next year. But let's go back to the lesson that Nick Saban taught us. He pulled Jalen Hurts in their championship game and put in Tua. I mean, so I could see this happening at Texas if the game's really on the line. But once you make a move to Arch Manning, how do you come back to Quinn Ewers?
Be very hard.
If he's not injured. I mean, it's a big, big move. It really is.
You get into as far as him not starting Cam Ewers, even if he isn't 100%, like you said at the start of this conversation, Mac. I want the veteran because Manning's played well when he played. He hasn't really played against the best competition yet, and he struggled a little bit his last time out. When you get into the meat of this SEC schedule against the big boys, I think you want that veteran presence out there until that veteran presence shows he can't do it. Then maybe you got to make a tough decision, maybe.
Gotcha. And James, having two top quarterbacks is a problem. If you have two quarterbacks, starting quarterbacks, you don't have any. And I'm telling you right now, you can't.
Well,
Yeah, I agree. You guys, I've heard
all the more reason
too. You guys are so right. I know the 49ers struggled with Joe Montana and Steve Young, during that
Who
time.
played? Who
You
played?
guys are so
Who
right.
played? Who played when Steve Young was there and Joe
They
Montana was
won.
there? Who
They
played
won.
when
They
Joe?
won with
they
their
never won a
front.
Super Bowl with Steve Young and Joe Montana sitting on the bench. I
That's
can tell you.
exactly what I'm saying. Jack, they did not play both of the quarterbacks at the same time when Joe Montana was there. When he left, they started Steve Young. Yeah. They wouldn't do that to a team. You don't want the you do not want the locker room. You do not want the locker room. You don't want the locker room divided, Jack. That's the worst thing that could happen to your team. You don't want that. So and it might happen this week. This when we get to the Steelers and the Jets. Once we get there, it might happen if they do start Russell Wilson. Let's go to Michigan at Illinois. Michigan right now is favored. No, it's given 3.5 points. Illinois is favored. Keith.
I thought Michigan was favored in this game.
No, they're giving 3 points to Illinois. Right? They're -3.
Let me take a quick look at what I had the other night.
The mighty have fallen.
They have. I said this team would finish out of the top 25 before the season was over, and I still think that. I've got Michigan -3. I'm looking at 3.5. Sorry, at Illinois.
Yeah.
Which brings me to if that's the line, I like Illinois a lot here. Brett Bielema's team's played pretty well. They're 5-1, 2-1 in the Big Ten. They played really, really good football. Not the best. They haven't played the top-notch teams yet, but Michigan is not one of the top-notch teams in the Big Ten this year. So I like Illinois at home with the 3.5. If they're given 3.5, I might give you a different pick, but I'm looking at it's 3.5 for Michigan.
All right. So Keith's parlay, folks, is Tennessee getting 2 points versus Alabama. He likes Texas minus the 4.5. And he likes Illinois being favored by 3.5. Keith, I'm not betting against any of those games.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Quick shout out, by the way, just before you start, if you're ready to end college football here, Army and Navy both ranked for the first time since 1960.
I was just going to mention that.
Since 1945. They're a great story this year. These two teams are legitimately in the playoff hunt right as we speak today.
I was just talking about that, and I feel bad about my Air Force. I feel terrible with my Air Force.
Yeah, you know what's funny is Troy Calhoun's a great coach, and this team, this is the worst year I think they've had under him. I love this series, the Commander-in-Chief series. I think it's wonderful, and there was some talk about Air Force moving to the American Athletic Conference and playing with Army and Navy, but that's not going to happen now. It looks like they've come to the West, so. By the way, another quick anomaly. These two teams could play twice this year, Army-Navy. They could play in the AAC championship game, and then the next week they play Army-Navy, the Army-Navy game. They could play 2 weeks in a row.
Well, isn't that illegal? I don't know. Okay, all right. Well,
no, that's not a league game this year. The Army-Navy game is not a league game because they were not scheduled to play each other in the league. Scott
Colby also likes the Colgate Rutgers this week. So
good bet, Scott. Good bet.
Yeah. Yes, so there you go. So let's talk a couple things about the NFL. Jamal Adams is let go by the Tennessee Titans. As Jack said before, he's often injured. He's been injured a lot, but when he's at his best, I mean, he can be a game changer on defense. He's great. He's great tackling. He's great blitzing. He can cover a lot of people if they want him to cover. A lot of speed. When he's healthy, I think he's a playmaker on defense. So I don't know who's going to take a chance on him. But if he is healthy, he's a great player.
I would add healthy and happy because this is a guy who seems to be unhappy everywhere he is, and that's why he's been with 3 teams in the last 4 years. So he's a great player, and it's a shame when you see guys like this who, partly because of injuries, partly because of their own attitude, don't live up to it.
Yes, and that's a lot of young players come in like that. And when he was with the Jets, I think he caused. And I don't know why he did that at the Jets. The Jets.
He wanted a new contract because his father was a player too, and he saw that his father had gotten injured and never fully cashed in. That's why he forced the issue with the Jets. He wanted his money, and the Jets weren't prepared to pay it at that point. So it got a little ugly. So the Jets traded him to Seattle. It was a good deal for the Jets, and for a while it was a good deal for Seattle until Jamal Adams got hurt. And let's be honest about it. Who's going to be enthusiastic about playing for the Tennessee Titans right now? It's not what you exactly sign up for. You have no hope of going to the Super Bowl. No, you're not. It's going to be a long season. So players still. It's nice that they're competitive and they want to go for a winner that they care about more than just pay.
Please. Jamal, what Super Bowl team's going to want Jamal Adams? Honestly,
everyone. I mean, a team like the Cowboys, he would spark their defense, for example.
They got a lot of guys who can't play there already. That would be a good place.
If he's healthy.
We said a Super Bowl. I said a Super Bowl team, Jack. What Super Bowl team?
There you go. Well, they were one last year contender. He could elevate. They're 3-3. They're not out of it yet.
Yeah.
They might be out of it soon, but they're not out of it yet.
After last week, I don't know. Off the bench, that's he's a relief safety. There you go. We'll bring him in as a relief safety. Just in case somebody gets tired, we'll put Jamal Adams in there.
Maybe a reunion with the Jets, even. They could
they need more drama. They need more drama there.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Or he could go to a team like the Patriots with Gerard Mayo. They're not a contender, but if you have a defensive-minded coach there, who works with you, and you like the scheme, you could kind of revive your career.
I got a lot of young defensive backs there, and I don't really want Jamal Adams in that defensive backfield room. I don't.
You know what? I don't know. There's something about the kid, and I don't know. I mean, listen, you're there to play football, and Jamal, and he asked to be released, and they released him. I mean, go play football. At least play a year somewhere and look, kind of get yourself back together again. I don't know. I mean, I don't understand people sometimes,
He had himself a good situation in Seattle, and he kind of talked his way out of there too. So
yeah. I don't know what's going on. So Thursday night, the Jets are playing the Steelers, and it looks like all things are pointing. Yeah. Is it Monday? It's Sunday night, right?
Sunday night. I thought you said Thursday.
So you don't listen to me, Jack. You just don't listen to me. You just
get the replay. Did you say Thursday, Keith? Is Sunday?
I wasn't listening at all, so I don't know.
Yeah, he doesn't want to get involved. I know what it is.
He might have said Thursday.
Okay.
Quite frankly,
I might have. Okay. If I did, I did. I'm sorry. I apologize. Anyway,
apology accepted, man.
Thank you. This is why the show goes so long, because it's me and Jack going back and forth the whole show. Anyway, all points are leading to Russell Wilson starting. He's taking the first team snaps. There goes Fields taking the second team snaps and following Russell around. And this is
their record 4-2.
This is one of the biggest mistakes. If Tomlin does that,
mistake.
If Tomlin does it, I'm the owner. I fire Tomlin. Jack, what do you think? I want to see you freak out.
I'm going to say this. Listen. Justin Fields has been okay filling in. He's been okay. Let's call it honestly. Don't tell me he's been very good. He's been okay.
Not saying he was.
The Steelers have been okay for the last 17 years of winning records. If they're going to make a serious run for Super Bowl, not a playoff berth, okay? A serious run. Russell Wilson potentially has more upside on the short term for this year. Russell Wilson, at his best, is an accomplished quarterback. Justin Fields isn't. Justin Fields is still a work in progress. Maybe Russell Wilson is going to bomb out and they'll go back to Justin Fields. But let's see what you have with Russell Wilson if you're the Steelers. He was their starting quarterback all along. They had him on the depth chart. The only reason he didn't play because he was hurt.
Okay, you don't get your job back just because you were hurt, by the way. I can speak to that very
It wasn't like that. Justin Fields didn't go out there and grab the job. He was okay, nothing more than that.
You're not going to get anything better than okay out of Russell Wilson. That's the thing. Russell Wilson's best days are long behind him. This is not a move to put a better player at this point in his career in the game. And you're 4-2, and you're messing with the team mojo, which you should not be doing at this point in the season. If they go in and lose a game, fine. But come on, this is
maybe
silly.
You're right, but they had a winning record last year with Kenny Pickett, Mitch Trubisky, and Mason Rudolph. They'll have a winning record with Justin Fields as the quarterback. We understand that. But the Steelers, they're tired of the same thing every year. Have a winning record.
And so you play Russell Wilson? Russell Wilson is the answer? Russell Wilson is old,
Russell Wilson is a good
old. He's inaccurate. He's inaccurate. Let me tell you something about Justin Fields. I think, what was it, over 300 yards the last game? If I'm not mistaken. And to come back, he threw for over 300 yards. He threw for a touchdown. He ran for it. Russell Wilson is a better athlete. He's a better quarterback right now. And all this does is divide the team. I guarantee you, when the team heard that Russell Wilson, let me finish, Jack. Let me finish. And if Russell Wilson, I guarantee you, at least half of the team disagrees with this. At least half the team disagrees with this move.
No other coach has the control of his team or more control of his team than
not by
Mike
doing
Tomlin.
this. Not by doing this.
Tomlin will not allow his locker room to get divided. He won't allow that. Okay, he's on top of things like that. He's one of the best coaches in the NFL. They've been working out behind the scenes. Even Justin Fields, to his credit, said, he could have done a lot more. He could have put it out of reach.
Well, what do you want to say, Jack? What do you want to say? What do you want Justin Fields to say?
Guys, there's 11 games left. If Russell Wilson plays poorly the next 2-3 games, they'll go back to Justin Fields.
Oh my!
You want to give away? You just want to give away 2 games?
Oh my God! Right? And that division, I don't care about his career percentage. We're not talking about 1975 or 22, 19, whatever it is. Whenever he started, we're talking about right now. We're talking about. I know. We're talking about right now. I don't care what he did 5 years ago.
It's not clear. I'll agree with this. It's not a clear-cut move. It could go either way. You could stick with Justin Fields. I wouldn't have gotten hype about it. I would have said, fine, or you could go to Russell Wilson. It could have gone either way. But what I'm saying, Justin Fields isn't this phenomenon, how can you bench Justin Fields? Justin Fields has been simply okay. He hasn't lit it up where it's obvious, he's got to be the starter going forward.
I think if you were a Steeler fan, you would be saying, what are they doing? I guarantee 75% of those fans are like, we should not be making this move.
You're 100% right, Keith. I just looked at the follow the Steelers. I follow the Steelers pages. They're all up in arms. They don't believe
And what's going to happen? They play the Jets Sunday night. The Jets if they got off to a 14-0 lead and Russell Wilson struggles, you're going to hear the boos, and at some point in the game, even Russell Wilson's first game back, they might put in Justin Fields to give him a spot. That could happen.
Wilson again.
That could happen. Mike Tomlin is looking at the big picture. Who gives them a little bit of a better chance to go to the Super Bowl? Is it Russell Wilson or Justin Fields? He apparently feels Russell Wilson gives him a little better chance. He sees these guys in practice every day. He's coached against Russell Wilson. He's got a better feel for it than we have.
We're giving Mike Tomlin. I like Mike Tomlin a lot. Let's remember something. Mike Tomlin hasn't even been to sniffed a Super Bowl in about 15 years.
That's right. So
I like him a lot too. So he doesn't make the best decisions here. When he had Ben Roethlisberger, it was pretty simple. Otherwise, his quarterback decisions have been very questionable.
I agree. And listen, he's a defensive special teams coach. I love him too. He's a Hall of Fame coach, there's no doubt.
Absolutely.
But so was Bill Belichick, and you see what happened to him the last few years. So it happened. they run out of steam. It happens to all the great coaches. And I think if he's doing stuff like this, I mean, I'm not saying it's the worst decision he's ever made, but it's up there. And you go with a younger guy that has more upside, that's winning. They're 4-2 in a tough division that if they fall 2 games out, their season might be, they may not get in.
I'm impressed, Mac. Right. You impressed me going to the Steeler fan pages.
Yeah, I look at everybody's.
I check all the team pages. Yeah, me too. All of them.
Me too.
Yeah.
So all you get on those fan team pages, a bunch of disgruntled fans.
Yes.
Who say the team should do things based on emotion.
You don't read those. You can sit. There's a scroll thing there where you can look for the guys who have some common sense.
Yeah, have some common sense there. We don't just he sucks. That doesn't do anything for me. I mean, that doesn't do anything. I want to see why they're saying it. And listen, I want to see what the home base is saying. Like I like looking at the Jets, follow the Jets page. I love watching that.
No, you're not looking for the gossip. Why buy him in there? They don't show him on there, and you want him.
Yes, exactly. So very interesting. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting Sunday night. I'm waiting for this because it's going to be. Hey, we got Devontae Adams, and hey, we got Russell Wilson. We'll match you, right? We'll match you. We'll put
there's a good storyline set that night for sure.
Yes.
They should play this game on Thursday. Let's lead off this week with it. Let's move it.
Yes.
Move it to Thursday.
I don't know, Keith. I know you got to get going, right? You got your show right after ours, and let's let's go ahead and get set up. Get set up because I'm going to talk about a lot more nonsense in the last 9 minutes. So has really nothing to do with anything. So anyway, Keith, who is your interview today, Keith?
Actually, we've got me. I'm going to be talking. Actually, we got a little different bit of a show. I'm going to be on and kind of talk about the next couple of weeks because I'm going to be gone, but I'm going to be doing shows live from the cruise ship. I'll talk to you, Mac, about the appearances I can make here. We'll try to make. Okay. But I'm also going to talk about a good friend of mine who was inducted into the Semi-Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio this past weekend. Rick Sherlock's brother. We've talked about it a few times, and we're going to play his induction speech and talk a little bit about that today too. So a little bit of a mixed bag today. No interview per se, but we're going. Oh, by the way, also going to try a new thing and see how it works. I'm going to give everybody who in the studio a chance to come in and rant for 2 minutes. We'll see how it goes.
Wow. Oh, that's just real. That's nuts, Keith.
We're going to try. Something I thought about on the fly yesterday.
I was like, Jack, tune into it.
No, I'm in a bad spot for the Steeler Jet game Sunday night because I should want Russell Wilson to play awful. And I should want you guys to come back to me and say, you see, I meant the Jets, going to win the game.
Me and
if Russell Wilson lights it up, it backfires on me.
He's got to root against his team now to be right in this argument.
Yeah, I don't like that.
what you were doing, Jack. We know exactly why you want Russell Wilson in there. Keith, have a great one. We'll see you soon.
See you Sunday morning.
All right, buddy. Keith Engel, always with us on Friday night. Love having him in. So I got
seven subplot, Mac, with your Giants and Saquon Barkley coming back to MetLife Stadium. You have a little bit soap opera stuff this weekend.
I don't even want to talk about that because if we do stop him, which we'll be keen on him, if we do stop him, then it's going to be a big deal. Saquon Barkley is not a big loss. If Saquon Barkley runs for 200 yards, and I'm just exaggerating, or has a real great game, we shouldn't let Saquon Barkley go.
Mac, if you were in the stands Sunday, would you boo him? Would you cheer him when he was first injured?
I would cheer.
How do you think the reaction is going to be?
Mixed. It'll be mixed. You could have boos and cheers. I would cheer. Yeah, I mean, he did a great job when he played for us. I would thank you.
And helped out in the community. They should give him They should give him a warm ovation.
They should. But you know how fans are.
Then you cheer for your team.
Yeah, you know how fans are, Jack. Fans. Some fans are straight up jerks. I'm like I said, I'm a huge Giant fan, but I'm not blinded by a lot of stuff, Jack. You know what I mean? I'm pretty realistic. And what Saquon Barkley did for us when he was healthy was unbelievable. The guy was our offense. And how can you boo him? But you're gonna have people saying he's a traitor, which is maybe true, maybe not. It all depends how you look at it. I just think that even I think Jet fans would boo former Jet players, some of them. Real quick, how about Fireman Ed? There's news about Fireman Ed. I heard, now this may be a rumor, that they're trying to get him out of the games.
Well, they have to allow him to come in unless he's getting in people's way, standing, obstructing people's views.
Yeah.
I mean, I was joking around about it before. I honestly don't care much with Fireman Ed. It's good that he's a big fan, but I never get a big kick out of a guy exhibiting this and that. But he's supposed to kind of be the team's unofficial mascot, because if you ask me a question, who do the Jets have a mascot? I think not one I know of, but then I think, oh, Fireman Ed. I just throw his name out there just for the heck of it, you know?
Yeah, he's been there so long.
In a way. Yeah.
He's been there so long and everything. I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard that Fireman Ed is upset with the Jets because they told him either he can't come or I don't know what the hell it was, but there was something going on over there. So I'll find out more about it for the next show.
Yeah.
I was going to talk about, and I'll give you a preview. You know, and I'm going to start this by saying Dolly Parton was inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Now, we all know Dolly Parton is not a rock and roll singer. She's a country singer. But it leads me into the interlude of all the Hall of Fames and how some players get in and some don't and some shouldn't. And I think what I'm going to do, Jack, and we're going to talk about it in the show more in depth. I'm going to get a panel together, and we're going to go in chronological order, and we're going to call us the Sports Legends Hall of Fame. Only people that are legends are going to be allowed in our Wall of Fame. I want to try to get this to somebody so that somebody in some city builds this, where we don't just let in anybody because they're very good and the other people have better stats, but we don't like them. We like him. I don't want to hear that. And when it's all going to be on field, I don't care about steroids. I don't care about betting. I don't care about anything. All on field greats. And I'm going to put together a panel, for example, like on the MLB when we pick them in. We're going to have Dr. Paul on there, you on there, and maybe another MLB expert I can find. Boxing the same way. You and some of the guys that we know that are really, maybe the commission, somebody else. And you know, I don't care if they bet on the sport because that's why they let anybody in boxing off of anyway. But we're going to get the most worthy candidates.
Well, Mac, did you see what the NBA did? They're putting Spike Lee and Jack Nicholson in the Hall of Fame. Biggest super fans.
Yes.
Super fans are going to get into the Hall of Fame. You just mentioned Fireman Ed. What's he going to do? Get in the Jet Team Hall of Fame? Be in the Jet Ring of Honor? I mean, come on.
And guess what? We're gonna do it. Like I said, we're gonna do it right. We're gonna do it right, Jack. We're not. I mean, I think Jake Paul. Tell me if I'm wrong. I bet Jake Paul, even if he never beats a qualified heavyweight champion, a qualified boxer, ends up in a boxing Hall of Fame. Bet he does.
Not in the international. The vote.
I don't know, Jack. No. I don't know. Everything he's at the end of his career.
That's not happening.
Okay.
Okay.
I think of bringing all the fans back to box. I could see it now. Anyway, so that's what we're going to do, Jack. I think it'll be really interesting, and we're going to get experts together to do this. We're not just going to do this by the seat of our pants, but I will set the rules, just to let you know, because it is my boxing Hall of Fame. But I want you guys to really get into it. It's going to be 3 people. Got to be by 2-1 decision. It doesn't have to be unanimous, but I'm going to give you the best of the best, and we're going in chronological order, and we will make. And I wish some city would do this. Maybe Las Vegas will do it. Maybe they'll just have a Sports Legend Hall of Fame. I would love that, and put everybody in that deserves to be in, and all this other crap that they have. No, they're never getting in. So you're not going to have a lot of people in this. It's going to be the best of the best. So anyway, folks, thanks for tuning in. Love having you all. The likes, love, shares, hopefully coming down the road. Remember, ZodiacTv, big thing. They're going to have a press release, Jack, with all our names in there and the hosts and what they did. And they're doing a press release over us on ZodiacTv. Thank you for that. Bet us. Check them out. SeatGeek, remember, use the NSS code when you go off, when you're going to your cart to buy your tickets. This way, when you come back in, they know who you are. then use that NSS code and you get great deals. Again, thank you for stopping us. If you're going out tonight on Friday, be careful. Don't drive if you're drunk, and have a great day.